Hello, Kevin.
Hi, Bosco. Just getting everything organized.
No worries. You're doing a lot of great stuff.
Thank you. Getting a bit busy.
What? Sorry?
I'm getting a bit busy.
Yes, I can see. I'm trying to find my way through TSC hard fork and the chain partition incident analysis working group. It's a long title, a long name. But anyway.
We can abbreviate it.
Yeah.
Hi, Ryan. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Good. Just saying to Bosco, getting a bit busy, and Christmas is coming.
Oh yeah, likewise. It's pretty busy here too. So.
Hi, Leandros.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. Welcome.
Leandros, do you have access to Slack?
No, I don't generally use Slack. I haven't seen any follow-up notifications or something.
I'd sent you an invite, but it expired. I could send you another one, but if you don't already have an account, I may need to do something different. So
I suggest you join Slack, Leandros. That's where we have the background discussion, put together the agenda.
All right, I'll give it another try as soon as I get the invites.
I'll send it over momentarily.
Thank you.
Hi, Sebastian.
Hello, everybody.
I've pasted the agenda, the proposed agenda, into the chat, and also, of course, in the Slack channel. If there are any other items that people would like to raise, or if you'd like to prioritize specific items, please let us know. Do you know if Simo will be joining us, Bosco, or not?
He should be, but great. I will ping him. Just give me a sec. Just to make sure he... just a second. Just one more thing. Just see whether he has some overlapping. He shouldn't, but just to... No, he should be with us really soon. Okay. Hi, Simo. So, Kevin, do you want to start more than obvious question? Really according to the agenda. So first action items from the last meeting, or you want to start with to use Simo's time effectively, and then so he can drop from the call, perhaps.
I was going to give people a little more time to join. We seem to have half the TSC members here.
Yeah, sure.
So, Sebastian, you're raising the issue of SIP editors funding through TSC. I would see that coming under TSC operational budget.
Yeah, I just added bullet 2, and it's in the end of the list, so no need to prioritize right now. We have lots to do.
Yeah, but it's maybe worth mentioning the issue briefly to the group if we have enough time.
Oh yeah, I could briefly pitch it as it's recorded. So I was approached by SIP editors, which there are, I guess, 4 or 5, and one highlighted that they are having struggles getting funded through Catalyst as they were in the past. The new Catalyst proposal process or regulation seems to be not as compatible with this community service of being a SIP editor, and the question was raised whether there is alternatives, and I brought this to the attention of the TSC that maybe intersect committees like the TSC or the OSC could be viable sources for paying these community editors. So we probably will discuss it when we talk about potential TSC operational budget items, and that's all there is to it.
Great, and welcome Thibaut as an observer. I believe you're an observer.
Yep. Hello.
Is there anything you would like to raise with us?
Me? No.
Great. Thank you for joining us. It's great to have community members in this meeting. So I would propose that we start the meeting. I've paid the agenda is pasted into the chat. The first item was to cover off actions from the last meeting. I've pasted those into the chat as well. So if you'd like to go through that, we can check where we are, Oskar.
Yeah, sure. But I was suggesting if the second point is SIMO, if I'm not mistaken, committee rewards process. So SIMO might not be available for the full duration of the meeting. So
Okay.
perhaps just
But let's ask Simo to deal with the second item, and we will come back to the actions from the last.
yes.
Simo, go ahead. So we invited you here so you could run us through the process for claiming rewards for acting on this committee or other committees, and to answer any quick questions that committee members might have. So please go ahead.
All right, thanks a lot, Kevin. Hello, everyone. I'm Simo. I'm secretary of IC within Intersect. So I'm in charge of implementing or doing the first bulk payment of the committee reward policy. If you're not aware, there is a committee reward policy which was proposed by IC and approved by board, and in that policy it stated that every elected committee member will be rewarded with 500 ADA, and chair will be rewarded for 1000 ADA a month. So last Friday, on the 28th of November, I have sent you an email, and subject of that email is action required, committee member reward initial payment. So some people told me that that email went to spam. So if you can check your email on Friday and check it out if there is email from Simo simovic@intersectmbo.org, and there is a few steps. Yeah, Neil, I know, Kevin told me, so that's why I'm here. So basically, I will share. So this is an email from myself. So basically, I'm informing all committee members that we have a policy, that we want to implement it, and we want to do the bulk reward payment, include from June, November inclusive, and we want to pay you all before the Christmas holiday. And there is a few steps required. So, and first, you can always accept or decline reward. Some people decline it, and there is a few steps you need to follow. So, and do before we do the test payment. So first one is do the KYC verification via the link. Then you need to fill out one of the tax form. So W9 is for US citizen and W8 ban is for non-US persons. And also I'm asking you to provide a valid ADA wallet address so we can do the test transaction, and then so we can do the bulk payment to you. There is a couple of people already responded. So basically, Kevin did all the steps, Johnny Kelly, and Sebastian, Nigel, and Ryan. So 4 people out of, how many do I have? 12 people in TSC responded. So basically, I'm seeking and asking you to respond to that email if you can this week. Any questions?
Alex.
see.
Yes, hi Simo. You
Hello.
said we can accept and decline.
Yep.
When we decline, can we choose to donate to Treasury?
Basically, whatever budget, as you remember, when we did the Intersect budget, because this is part of the Intersect budget, we stated that all unused ADA will be returned to the Treasury. So basically, all
Yes.
unused
So okay,
ADA.
declining means you then
Yeah.
perfect.
It will be returned to the Treasury. It will not be returned right away, but at the end of the cycle, budget cycle, we will return all unspent amount of ADA.
Would you
So-
like an email from me that says I decline, or can I tell you in this call?
Email will be perfect, to be honest. It will be better, but I can, I can put it that you decline.
Just one question, if I may, even though I'm not directly involved. So if the Alex or anybody else decline, is that a permanent decision or the decision can be changed at any point?
It can be changed anytime.
Okay.
So,
Just for the sake of transparency,
Yeah.
because people are entitled to something. If they choose to decline, they decline. If they choose to
Exactly,
change the
exactly.
decision, okay.
yeah. And in email also, we have stated that from January onwards, it will be automatic process, and it will be handled via member area. So basically, each committee member will go over there and claim rewards, and everything will be automatically. This is just the bulk payment for a couple of months. That's why we are doing manually, so to make sure that everybody receive what they should receive for the previous period. But after that, whoever declined, they can go to member area and just claim it. If they don't go and claim it, so basically they declined. So. Okay, any other question?
So my understanding, Simo, is there's going to be a test transaction run this week. Presumably to those who've provided the information by a certain date. That will be probably tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah,
And
I have a meeting with tech team tomorrow. Hopefully, we will do the test tomorrow.
Great. So if you want to get your transactions tested, then the deadline for doing this is tomorrow before Simo meets up with the tech team. So prioritize that.
Yeah.
The actual run is going to take place next Friday. It sounds like Friday the 15th of December. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So if someone fails to provide you with the information by then, what happens? Can they will there be a later run, Simo, or have they lost their opportunity?
Probably we'll have two test transactions for the people who already submitted, and for the people who late submitted. So I imagine we'll have two test transactions. Currently, I have 46 people already responded out of 70, and I'm saying 70 because there is over 10 people who declined. So there is total of 80 something people, but 12, 14 people declined. So I still have 70 people who should respond to an email.
Yes, what I'm saying is I think you should set a deadline. So there's a deadline for the initial tranche of payments, but you ought to there ought to be some deadline by which people must have claimed, by which it will honor the payments, Simo.
Yeah, but also we were talking about that, that even if you don't claim it right now, you will be eligible to claim it later. I'm not sure how the process will work after January. I know that you can claim it each month, but I'm sure that people can, even if they did not claim it right now, they will be able to claim it.
Okay.
Okay. Alex,
Should we move on, unless there are any other questions on that item?
Yeah, I think Alex asked some question. Yeah, and Nigel and Sebastian answer it. Yeah, Alex, there is two forms. One is for US citizen and the second form is for non-US citizen.
Okay, and receiving the reward would also not need to make me fill out the first form the second time I would receive a reward.
Okay.
No, it doesn't make you. It doesn't make you a tax resident to the US.
Okay, thank you. That was the question.
That's my understanding, and I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, and also this tax form that's for instant purpose, and also it's for 2025 year. You need to do this tax form, but also for 2026 we will need to do the same form for you guys. So basically, from when you claim in January 2026, you will need to do the form again. So it's like annual tax form. So just so you're aware. So this one will cover July until December, and then from January there is a new tax form, the same one, just for 2026. But it will be included in a member area, so it will be there.
I think,
Neil,
I was going to suggest we're not a lawyer, I'm not a tax accountant, etc., but just for the fullness of this, that those forms were about US tax liability. Yes. Receiving these payments may make you liable for tax in your own jurisdiction.
Yeah.
I'm just pointing out that people need to, just in case somebody thinks it's free, because it's not being paid for in the US.
Yeah, exactly, Neil. I'm not, I don't know legal stuff, but I was on a call with the US legal department we had. So basically this is for Intersect purpose, because we are registered in Wyoming. So basically we need people to fulfill this form so we can have it when they ask us, do you have, and of course, whoever is from other country, they need to talk with their accountant and lawyers for the tax purposes. Thank you, Neil, for that.
if there is no other questions, I suppose you can draw from the meeting, Simo, unless there is explicit need from anybody else to free to stay. So if not, thanks and have a great day. We'll stay, of course.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. See you.
Bye-bye.
Kevin, I suppose I can start with the action items from the last meeting.
I was just going to say, I've scanned through the items that have been carried over Bosco. I don't think we need to go through them all. It's enough to say the first three items are in progress but haven't been carried out yet. So that is
yes.
It is.
Yes.
I have not yet contacted Jeff. I'm afraid, because of other reasons. We will draft a nested transaction response, and I will kick off the operational budget proposal. But again, I've been too busy with other things to be able to do that. And the other items that are carried forward, we will address during this meeting. As
some of the action items from the lists are like obvious operational stuff that is already done, so that's okay. So we are making progress. So do you want to touch topic on the chair? Is that basically the next natural thing to be discussed on the list?
Yes,
chair and vice chair.
Absolutely, Bosco. So we initiated a process last week. So if you'd like to fill us in on where we are.
Okay, I can say I wrote a message in the. First of all, we have discussed that topic. Neil raised it on the last PSC meeting. Then I raised the topic. Following on that, I raised the topic and wrote the message on Slack. Invited prospective candidates to send me a message so we can potentially organize the elections in the members area. But the truth is, we only have single candidate that sent me a message. So it's Kevin, and I don't know in what kind of, to me, it doesn't make sense to have elections for something that is obvious. Should we do it still
Any
to ratify
objections
it?
to that, maybe?
Yeah. So anybody can object, of course, right now. So feel free. Neil, text after that.
Yeah. Okay, so I would say, so are you telling us there were two posts on offer, right? One was the chair and one was the vice chair, and we only.
I think it was a single one. Calling both.
Just for the chair. Okay.
I think we called if I'm not mistaken, I've called for both positions, so both roles, so both chair and vice chair in a single post.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say, the current situation is we have one person willing to take the chair.
Yes.
And 0 people willing to take the vice chair.
Exactly.
That's what I wanted to do.
At the moment.
Right.
Yes. What happened last time, Neil, was that the person who was second in the chair election was offered the opportunity to take up the vice chair. That was what we agreed last time.
Okay.
So you don't necessarily need separate elections.
Okay.
And we don't necessarily need a vice chair, but it's conventional.
Really important. Yeah. So how do we wish to proceed? Do we wish to the election now? Does anybody, or do we want to leave it open for one more week for people to respond?
That is Kevin's suggestion in the comments. So to keep it for one more week. If there are no strong objections, we can keep it as is and wait one more week and make a decision next week on the next TXC meeting.
I would second that. I would second that proposal. How's that?
But text, of course, once.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be cautious. I understand there are obviously some new entrants to the technical steering committee, but if you haven't had a chance, I highly encourage you to go back and watch over the last couple of meetings. If you need me to direct you specifically to those timestamps, I can. But I guess I'm just curious because we've had some discussion on this, and now we're trying to do it async. There may be something to come out of it. There may not be. I'm not trying to impose anything one way or the other. I don't have any individual intentions, but I want to understand if there's questions, because this is now, at least in my mind, week 6 that we're going back and forth on this issue. Mind you, yes, we had the summit, we had, new entrants coming in, but where do we stand as a group? Because I don't know that there's actual consensus on this, and we say, okay, great, well, we'll give it one more week, but then when nothing happens, we come back again, and then again, I don't want this to sound like there's no intention with how this sounds, but we just say, oh, we just agree, and just Kevin continues his chair, and we don't need a vice chair or this or that. That's not actually making a decision, right? That's lazy consensus. Sure, we could go back and look at it from that perspective, but nobody's actually giving input.
Okay.
And it's really weird for this group.
Well, so text. 2 weeks ago, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, people had just joined, right? We said that we would wait 2 weeks for let people to get their feet under the table, right? That's what was said. That was last week. That expired last week. Last week, Bosco asked for people to put themselves forward. We're now 1 week on. Nobody's put themselves forward except Kevin. That's what's happened. And last week, various members of the committee volunteered. If anybody wanted to chat about what had happened in the past, I for example, offered to talk to people one-to-one. So we have, I would always move that we, either we make the decision this week, or I'd move the fact that we make the decision next week, and just to make sure that everybody gets a good bite at the cherry. I mean, I think that's what we got to. We've slowly pushed the options away. Now, why do people? It's a different question as to why people are behaving this way. But this is in terms of it's a committee. That's how the decisions are made. Yes.
Yes, and what I'd say, if anyone's unhappy with the situation, now is the chance to put themselves forward.
Okay, so can I move that we note the fact that we only have one candidate for the election, as after the secretary has asked, right?
Yes.
That's that. So let's move the facts. And secondly, out of an abundance of caution, hello, little one, out of the abundance of caution, we're going to delay it for 1 week. But then next week we will make a decision as to, and if there is no other candidates come forward, then it's a default election. Otherwise, we will hold an election. I move that as an official movement. Does anyone want to second that?
Can I just ask, are we quorate? Can we just agree that Kevin is chair and remove it from next week's agenda?
I'd be happy with that as well. Would you like
We
to
are
move?
for it,
As
yes.
well.
Can I make the motion to elect Kevin as chair? The only one that put himself forward? Let's get it over with.
Okay, well, I'm abstaining, Alex.
Okay, that's fine.
So basically, Alex has moved it. I'll second it. Are there any? Bosco, I just asked. Are there any dissenters?
Are there any descendants?
Yeah, well, basically, we're looking for a unanimous motion here. As secretary, you could just ask, does anybody disagree? Does anyone dissent from this? Right?
Oh, okay. I mean, is there any strong objection to
Any objection?
Any really?
Even weak objection would be acceptable.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely, for the sake of full transparency. Yeah, it feels like we're chasing our tails right now.
Yeah.
About something that is obvious, but still it needs to be said properly. I agree. So, literally any single objection to what Neil said about Kevin.
Well, actually, it's Alexander's motion. Alex has basically said he proposes that he be the chair.
Okay.
I second it.
I'm not a voting member, so
No one else dissent. Does anyone dissent? I think it's, and if we're quorate, I believe we are. Yeah, no one's saying we're not quorate. Then you can record it as a decision.
Kevin, are you happy about that? Just last call. Even though you abstained, of course, from the voting, but are you happy with the to continue to be the chair? Maybe not happy, maybe it's a strong word, but
I'm comfortable with continuing to do it.
that's it.
Okay. I see it.
New poll.
Shooting.
We have a poll now, so yeah, we can vote. We can vote on it essentially. Not me, of course. I can't vote, so anybody else who can should. Do you know how to check for the vote for the poll in the meeting?
There's 7 members currently present, so that would be the total number of votes in there.
Okay,
We have
I
5 currently, so
okay.
there are 2 members that should navigate to the meeting tools, maybe a triangle or a series of 9 dots.
Okay. Is there a way actually for me to see the results while of the vote? Because I only see the option to vote and I shouldn't be voting.
Again, we'll continue to work with that, Bosco.
Okay.
Okay. We don't need to delay the meeting, but there is still 1 vote pending. So if you're a voting member at TLC and you haven't gotten in there, please go and respond to the poll. Otherwise, you guys can move on.
I think we can move on. Last measure was 1 vote. Yeah, we have more than enough and we are already half an hour into the meeting. So yeah, let's make some progress. The next item on the agenda, just a second, scroll up a bit, chair elections. Okay, hard fork working group, which is Kevin and Ryan. I can add to whatever I can, but I suppose, Kevin, you want to start with it.
Why don't we let Ryan present it? So Ryan you were present at the hard fork working group. Ryan, why don't we take your input from that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was not prepared to share a bunch of stuff, but there was talk about. I know we were having a discussion in the comment section of that, or on the sidebar of that meeting, rather, about how to get something included into a hard fork. And there are different opinions given based on, should we have an info action or off-chain poll, some sort of template. I'm trying to see if I can pull up the notes for that, but I don't have them ready.
Notes from the hard fork working group meeting.
Yeah, I think I got them now.
I mean, you have the transcript if you are looking at the.
I think I have it. I could share my screen on that. 1 second.
Yeah, sure.
Oops, that's the wrong one. That's the right one. All right, we're able to see fine.
You mean the documents? From the
Yeah. Is this what we're looking for, or?
No, I was thinking that you're speaking about the meeting minutes or something, because I didn't share it yet. So like that's it. I also wanted to share this one if it's needed. So yeah,
I'm not sure where to find the meeting minutes offhand, so I'm still trying to figure out the whole.
I will find. I will share. Don't worry. I will take care of it. But for the time being, I didn't share them officially. Didn't refine them. So let's not waste more time of this meeting. So go on, please.
Yeah, no worries. So this is basically the document we went through when we were doing the hard fork working group meeting. I believe there was talk about all the different Plutus features that would be added in. I can't necessarily speak intelligently about many of these, as a lot of it is over my head. Yeah, I don't know if Kevin or anyone else there has more to comment on this.
Maybe Kevin.
You might be the one.
So the group met yesterday, as Bosco said. The primary focus of the discussion was around the scope of the hard fork. So the scope has been presented. We can make that available to all of the TSC members. But in essence, what's happening is that there are a number of Plutus primitives that are mostly described in SIPs, or described in SIPs. So these are things the community has proposed that have been discussed by the SIP editors and have been included. There were some SIPs that were not included, but that was mainly because of timing and available effort by the Plutus team. So that they have someone who has been looking through the output of the SIP editors meetings, and they have been actively working to adopt community proposals. We'll post a summary of those SIPs later. I can see you've got it up here. In addition, there's also a new case optimization that will be introduced at the hard fork. This is not a new primitive, but it opens up the possibility for various UPLC compilers to make a specific optimization. So this is optimizing cascades of if-then else statements into a case switch. So there's no new primitive being introduced. We can't, that wouldn't be possible at this stage, but there is new optimization capability taking place. So for those script developers who recompile their scripts or rewrite their scripts, then they will be able to take advantage of reduced cost. Then in addition, there is some ledger scope, but this is confined to bug fixing, including a number of improvements to enhance the security of the system. So these are, again, all things that have been openly discussed. This is an intra-era hard fork. The scope is deliberately limited. The group discussed what the procedure should be for defining the scope of a hard fork, it was agreed that the way things have been done was not ideal, and that we shouldn't really be simply ticking off the scope at this point in time. So for future hard forks, what we should be doing is to have an open discussion with the community well in advance of the hard fork, agree the scope for that, and make sure that the community is on board, rather than simply saying, as it were, take it or leave it. There was some discussion about how to deal with what would happen in an emergency, and what, say there was a security event, for example, that we needed to deal with. And the conclusion was that this should be discussed via the Security Council, that we wouldn't necessarily have to reveal all of the details of the incident, but that there would need to be some support by the Security Council and obviously the TSC for that to take place. And that the hard fork working group might then not be aware of the full scope of the changes. There was discussion about the name for this hard fork, and the conclusion was that the hard fork working group would accept suggestions from the group or from any interested party as to the name, and these would be discussed and recommended for ratification by the community at the next meeting. And finally, there was discussion about the readiness tracking for the hard fork. I've pasted into the chat the hard fork, a link to the repository where that is being discussed. And could we all take an action, please, to check through that and to make suggestions via a PR to the coordinators of the hard fork working group. Did I miss anything, Ryan or Bosco?
No, you did pretty much the same as you said on the meeting there.
Yeah, thank you for that, Kevin.
Great. So does anyone have any questions about that? Any issues, any concerns?
Honestly, I do have a very fundamental, probably even philosophical question. Why is this intra-era hard fork needed at all?
So the answer to the question, Alex, would be one, there are fixes to the ledger rules that it's important to bring to the community. So that would be one answer. And the second is that the Plutus primitives are things that have been requested by the community. So there will be DApp developers who would be waiting on those in order to be able to complete their development. And of course, the third answer is that there will be optimizations to the Plutus interpreter. Sorry, there'll be optimizations available through this new case statement, so there'll be benefit to the community, reduced costs from doing that. I think your question is it worth doing, right?
Before the era changing hard fork, that is the source of the question. If we wait another year and then include all that with all the other big changes in a proper hard fork, we would save a lot of nerves with all the ecosystem partners which don't care so much about Cardano, but just implementing it.
There is one aspect of like intra-era hard forks have less friction, I guess, less coordination points, I would suppose. And doing one of these before we do an inter-era hard fork is maybe a good test of like, can we get this done in a bit more of a decentralized fashion this time? Because the last one was really just Plomin, I think, enabling governance. Now this one is the first where I think we need to do a proper, fully decentralized protocol version, update and everything. And the scope is well understood, so maybe it is a good rehearsal for Dijkstra, which is, I think, a bigger feature set where there is all this additional maybe worry about like its significant change to the ledger. I'd like to see it happen also for any kind of future planning and like bigger features like Paras and Layers.
Absolutely, these big changes, they're going to be very disruptive, Sebastian. So I think I understand the desire not to disrupt too much, Alex, but as Neil's saying, there's a need to keep things ticking over, to maintain things. And if we were to wait another year, there would be some dApp developers who would be disappointed, shall we say.
Neil?
I think that there is this point that you need a regular cadence, so that, for example, people working at exchanges get used to the fact that it has to change every 6 months. If you wait for 2 years, right, then you're going to lose staff, and there is this issue that you need to have some cadence of change.
Having worked at a place that implemented lots of forks of L1s, I invalidate that argument.
Well, I've also worked
with many forks. It's just fucking annoying.
Yeah, I get that, but I've also worked at a place where we got everything so stable that when something went wrong, all hell broke loose, even though it was very simple, because actually no one had got the experience. All the knowledge, all the sort of corporate knowledge had been lost. Okay? So it's a balance.
Kevin, do you want to wrap up the discussion about hard fork, or we can move on to the...
Yes, I was just waiting to see whether silence brought forward any other questions. I'm assuming that nobody else wishes to raise any questions. If you do, we can obviously discuss them out of band or in the next meeting. The hard fork working group will meet on a 2-week
bi-weekly basis at the moment. So probably the remaining one in this year before the holiday break is going to be like what is yesterday was 2nd, so 16th December.
Great. So
and
there'll
after,
be one more
after
meeting.
the holiday break.
There'll be one more meeting in December, and then the next meeting will take place in January.
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much. And the working group meetings are open to everyone in the community.
Yes, and I will share the link again for the registration. I will share. I need to put it in the calendar, but I will share for the respective in the committee channel and in the hard fork working group channel. So, plus it's open anyway for anybody.
Thank you, Bosco. So moving on, chain incident partition working group. Neil,
yes,
would you like to take that?
Yes, I think a draft remit was proposed on Monday. A set of changes and the name of the group was proposed and adopted. There's a meeting this afternoon. The key gating factor is going to be finding an independent chair and actually financing that, because it's not. I can suggest that this is not a matter. It should not be a matter of someone has a chair. It's a lot of work. They actually going to put their professional credibility on the line in this process, in that they are asserting that they have done due diligence over the material presented. Right, that's actually the key part of an independent chair. So if it's got to be resourced appropriately, and then I think you're ready to start moving forward. Okay.
Just want to, because we are going to have that discussion anyway later. So also the question that was raised on Monday was whether we can do something at least when it comes to collecting the data or structuring the data that we already said before while we are looking for the independent chair. So like
I see no reason why we shouldn't gather the data. It's just the fact that the point is anybody who does this, I would suggest, right, again, this is just watching how public inquiries work and that type of thing in the UK, is that independent chairs, to make sure that everything fits together, it's also to make sure that nobody lies to it, right? I.e., or they've hidden something, and the likelihood is that they're going to have to, you're going to gather all the evidence and then move forward to, and the independent chair would end up concluding what they believed to be the ground truth. And you can see, I can see I'm waving my hands here, because honestly, this goes in, you know, this can get awkward in large cases, and there are inquiries that go on for decades in the UK, but I think it doesn't have to be that way. It's just that there has to be a standard to which everything is done. So I think gathering the evidence, absolutely. Constructing somewhere where the evidence can be pushed in as a PR, for example, would be fantastic, right? But that means
we are not going to, I mean, nobody wants to be adamant about conclusions or anything
no,
before.
exactly.
It's just preliminary analysis.
And the ad, if it is run properly, it will be absolutely, the conflicts will be resolved in any conflicts of history, timeline, views, should be resolved during that chairing process. And what emerges at the end is something that everybody believes. Okay? But
I agree.
That's what should happen. Okay? But that takes effort.
Yeah. So there's an obvious need to align different universes, so to say, different perspectives. So yeah, exactly. That would be the reconciliation part of the whole thing.
Yeah, and actually, I would expect, I would expect the chair, a really suitable chair would be one who could ask questions about things that were missing, or ask detailed questions that would sort of ground down to. There are certain things that people are worried. I know there are things that people are worried about. Asking the right questions, getting the right evidence to come forward, will resolve those questions properly. Okay.
I agree. So I mean, we're going to have that discussion a bit later, at least part of it.
But I mean, the thing that I don't know where you're going to get to is to get the budget.
I don't have the answer to that yet.
Yeah, good.
We first need to.
I think one of the things we may be able to discuss this afternoon is some idea of what the complexity of that work might be, and find some budgetary envelope for it, perhaps. Okay.
Let's gather the inputs and see where it can get us. I'm not against anything. I just don't know the answer at the moment. Kevin, go on.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what Neil said and say that the committee has also agreed that outputs should be public as far as possible, Neil. So, and that the community should be kept informed of progress. So there is a blog post, I understand, in preparation, Bosco.
Yeah, it is shared in the working group channel for all the people there to opine. So far, only Nicholas, I think. No, Doreen. Only Doreen asked for permission to see it. So
I think I asked as well.
Yeah, you did ask for the. Maybe it's I didn't receive the notification, so I will.
So I'm going to suggest, yeah, the hope is that's not. So currently we're acting on an entirely consensus basis for basically doing this. It's got to chair. Someone's got to chair and basically be the independent chair and drive it forward. Otherwise, it will just wander according to who turns up.
Yeah, I can direct it with this group's permission, but I don't see myself as being capable of acting as an independent chair, Neil.
Okay.
Because I was involved in the incident itself, and because there will be issues related to the Security Council that may be part of the analysis. So I don't want to colour the outcome.
I think that's a very sensible move. I mean, you've got to be careful about this stuff, because the key thing will be that people will be looking at this. As I've said in the meeting, the other thing that's important, I believe is important here, is you really have to establish a set of ground truths that nobody basically disagrees with, or the disagreement's very clear, to support any other activity that may occur in the future. This would solve a huge problem if, let's put it this way, if someone tries to be prosecuted on the basis of this, then this sort of thing will have to happen, and it's going to cost a hell of a lot more to do in the future than it is to do contemporaneously.
Of course, is if this needs to bear any really legal language in it,
It's
goes
basically
beyond our
No,
expertise.
no, the point is, it has to be, I would suggest, right, because basically what it has to do is to basically be a ground truth that nobody disagrees with, right? I.e., it is so you're acting like the forensic scientist giving the data to it, or you're acting like that's what an independent. That's how I see this role. It's not about creating any legal. There's no legal base. The point is, it's an input to it, but it's a potential input to a legal process. That's what I'm saying, not the legal process itself. So it's got to be done to a certain standard, right?
I agree. So, without any intent to sound dismissive, we still have a couple of things. So let's try to use the time as efficiently as possible. So nothing dismissive really. So I'm just trying to be efficient. I mean, for all of us. So
Yeah, so there'll be regular
yeah.
reports on the progress, Bosco, as it happens. So this group will be informed of that, and the working group is operating under the technical steering committee. So it's reporting to the Security Council, but it's formed under this
exactly.
With there is a folder. If there's a folder created to share material under the technical steering committee.
Yeah, and I need to make sure that there is enough access for all the members.
We could discuss a bit more afterwards. That can't be modifiable. It has to have a history, right, etc. It just can't be a folder. It may have to be a repository somewhere which does this process. Okay, for history.
That's a good point.
I'm just, I have.
Let's discuss that later.
Exactly.
Yep. The next one, unless you want to change the order, Kevin, the next one is GitHub health files for Nicholas.
I think it's something I came across when I was looking at GitHub documentation, and GitHub health file is basically a way to standardize many of the dot files that you have in a GitHub repo. So basically standardize code owners, issues, code of conduct, and all this kind of thing. And I was thinking that it might be something useful for Intersect to have, so that when we add any repository to Intersect, we have at least a default code of conduct defined for all repositories, that we have a default template for all the issues in this repository, and so on and so forth. Yes, Bosco?
I suppose, Christian, you can continue on that if you are here.
Yeah, Tech set up a template repo where with all that information there, he can give a link to the repository for that.
Okay, should we make this an action item in a way?
So is anyone objecting to this? I think you've got a proposal here that we use the GitHub health metrics. Is that right, Nicola?
I think it's probably good to have text or Christian looking at it. It's definitely in their remit. So I was just pushing for the suggestion. As long as somebody is carrying it over, I'm good with that.
Yeah. So I'm happy to second that, Nicholas. And does anyone object to that? It seems very sensible to me.
Okay, the next one on the list is Cardano node update, and it's on you, Kevin.
Yeah, so I've summarized this in the channel. It's so there was a meeting yesterday by the release working group, and the state of play is that 10.6 is not yet released. There's an issue with LMDB to do with increased memory usage. That would mean that couldn't be used by anyone. So that feature couldn't be used by anyone. The team took the decision to delay the 10.6 release until that was dealt with. Meanwhile, 10.7 is following along quite fast. So 10.7 is in the works. This will have support for the LSM backend, which would be a major improvement over LMDB, we anticipate, but it could take some time to roll out. And this would also have protocol version 11 support. We wouldn't expect that to be available in 25. It's possible it's completed in the next 2 to 3 weeks and is in a position to roll out to testnets, but given the development timescales, that may well not happen. So 10.7 is likely to have all of the things that are required for protocol version 11. It may well become the basis for node version 11, but the team is not going to rush it, of course. And yeah, hard fork, feature work continues, and they're expecting to have code completeness next week, but that will be code completeness without full integration, I expect.
And also, I'm not sure whether you mentioned it, Ken, but they said they don't expect that they're going to have any hard fork happening on testnet anyway this year. So it's just a work in progress.
Yes, preview I think is still in a bit of a state of disarray. And
Yeah.
So the first step is going to be to get preview back to fully working status.
Yes.
That there's an issue with Genesis mode. So that's one of the things that has to be fixed in any release candidate. So preview has had a reported drop in chain density, and so nodes are not able to start up in Genesis mode, only in Preos mode. So that has to be corrected. And then we would need to go through the usual phases. So there need to be agreement about rollout on preview, rollout on pre-prod, all the usual things. Sebastian,
Yes.
you were there as well, I think, yesterday, is that right?
Yeah, but I only didn't catch all of it, and that's why I wanted to maybe know it on the top of your head, or maybe you can point me where. You said feature complete soon. Do we know which version of the Plutus core, or basically the Plutus repository, would go into 10.7 or release candidate 11?
I don't have that off the top of my head, Sebastian. I can ask Jiang.
Okay.
Or you
Yeah,
can
very-
ask.
Yeah, or maybe it was mentioned on the working group before I joined, and Ryan also asked where the meeting notes actually of the working group coordination were. Maybe we can find a pointer for us both.
I will. There are no yet. It's on me. I
Okay.
will show.
Just to be clear, Sebastian, the hard fork working group meeting happened immediately before the release meeting.
Yeah, okay. And the
So-
other one, yeah.
So the information wouldn't have been, well, it wasn't requested, and it wouldn't have been available. I think the correct thing to do is to ask Xiang for that information, and then we can pass that on.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. Just thanks.
I think the next thing is parameter committee status. It's from Alex.
Yes, I can tell you about the parameter governance action that we wanted to publish, or why we haven't published it yet. I don't know which other update Kevin meant, but that's the one I've read and I think is most valuable. It is, as stated before, published on and ratified on preview and pre-prod, and it was ready, or we prepared to publish it during the Cardano Summit week. We didn't though, because of the CC Constitutional Committee situation, and we purposely waited for it to calm down or resolve itself, not to push it through forcibly last second like a few other proposals. We respected the social contract of no governance December. But once the CC is resolved, or we have a full CC again, we will immediately put that forward.
Yes, the parameter committee is also going to have to look at the cost models for the Plutus primitives.
which don't exist yet.
So given the timescale with which the parameter committee is meeting the upcoming break, it seems likely that any discussion on that would happen only in January, Alex.
Seemingly so, yes. Unless there will be news on Thursday from Jing about them. But we don't expect that to be.
We need feature completeness and we need the node integration before well, you need at least feature completeness. And then the benchmarking results need to be available. So given feature completeness will happen next week.
But then let's address a point we've also quickly discussed yesterday. It is regarding the hard fork in that regard. Would incomplete benchmarking of the Bluetooth primitives be a reason for postponing the hard fork?
Yeah.
Definitively, yes. We can't, if we don't have, because you have to start off with some parameters in default parameters after the hard fork, and if you don't get it right, that may be a security issue. Am I correct?
Absolutely, Neil.
Yeah.
So Alex, if the team had completed the work on the features, they could be deployed on preview with a trial cost model, but we shouldn't deploy them onto pre-prod without having a final cost model, and we mustn't deploy them onto mainnet without having that cost model confirmed by the parameter, reviewed and confirmed by the parameter committee. You'll also need to do some benchmarking of some system level benchmarking to confirm costs against overall Preos guarantees.
Okay.
So that's going to be a required step as well.
Then
that can be separated from the cost model, I believe.
Then that means we have one dependency on the parameter committee regarding the hard fork.
One or possibly
the
two.
parameter committee is depending on the benchmarking results, which needs to be reviewed by the parameter committee. And the benchmarking results depend on the existence of the Bluetooth primitives.
Correct. And the system level benchmarking depends on the existence of an integrated version of the node.
Fabulous. Noted. That was the update from the parameter committee.
Great. Thank you very much, Alex.
We are over time, but we can continue for a bit more if you want, Kevin. There is a holiday cadence that you wanted to speak about. Kevin.
Yeah, so the proposal was to not have to suspend this committee's meetings on Wednesday, December the 24th and Wednesday, December the 31st, and to reconvene after the break on Wednesday, January the 7th, 26. And this coincides with Intersect holidays as well. So if we had any meetings, it would be without Intersect support. I assume nobody has any objection to that.
Okay. There is something more for you, Kevin. So vision and the budget, 2030 vision and 2026 budget.
Yeah, so I'll propose holding off discussion of these because properly because they're going to take time to go through. So I have in the background been talking to members of the budget committee. I've passed on the evaluation criteria that we used last year, and I've proposed to members of the budget committee that we hold joint sessions to discuss the 2026 process. And that was my understanding that we should be doing this from the discussion we had last meeting. There's been no further progress on that. But Bosco, if we could take that up with the budget committee and either have an open session, maybe invite them to this meeting, or we could join one of their meetings. That would be helpful, I think. What we don't want is to have a situation where the technical steering committee is not included in the budget discussion process discussion for 2026.
Understood, agreed. TSC role, operational budget, and I don't know whether I would pronounce the name of the Seung-Yeon.
Yeah, so operational budget, we agreed that I would start to put together an operational budget. I've not had time to do that because of dealing with the instant group, for example, in the Hartford working group. But I've taken an action. I'll report back next week and share information with this group. So I'll make sure that everyone here has an opportunity to be engaged in that. And what I would expect, so I raised the issue again with the budget committee and with various other people, and what I'd expect would be some small scale support to include greater technical engagement with the community. So TiVo has raised a point about Discord. That's obviously a minor point, but we'd propose to hold technical town halls, for example, and to engage in events like the Cardano Summit, like Rare Evo, and so on. And then there are issues of supporting engagement in various working groups, supporting the CIV editors, these kind of things. So I think what I would do is to look at what we proposed the operational budget earlier this year, to extract that from the material we had and to present that to this group for discussion. Are there any critical items that should be included? I've made a note about the CIP editors, Sebastian.
Thanks.
Is there a way to collect that items if people remember later about them? If something else come to their mind, about critical items to be added?
Well, obviously these can be discussed next week, or they can be notified via Slack, or if community members want to notify us via Discord, that's also possible.
Okay. Just wanted to ask if there is something else. I mean, something structured as a structured way of collecting the thing. If there's not, then okay. Ad hoc.
The easy way, Bosco, is to look at what we currently have and to look at the gaps. It's generally speaking easier to agree there are things missing than to work out what needs to be included from scratch. But if anyone has any burning items they feel should be included, please do raise them. And they may already be in the budget, or they may not.
Great. And then Seung-Yeon, again, if I pronounce that correctly, and it's on me, actually. I'm not sure why you assigned it to me, but I can probably adapt the TSC member that wants to step down, right, Kevin?
Correct, yes.
Tex, go on. If you want to jump in.
Yeah, no, I was just simply going to say I received a request immediately after the elections finalized, or rather that first week finalized, that member mentioned needing to step away due to personal commitments. So realistically, it's just a matter of the committee to decide, do you need a full 10 people? Can you work with the 9 members? If you need somebody, do you wish to appoint the next candidate, or is there not competence in that, or whichever? So it's just simply, do you want to fill out to the 10 members, or are you comfortable with the 9 that you have, as the first order of business there?
That's a question for everybody or for the acting chair?
For everybody.
Yeah, so there are, I can see 2 possible actions. One is to accept the next candidate. And these are things that have been done procedurally before. So we could accept the next candidate from the list if we agree, or alternatively, we can say that we will operate with 9 members. That's within the intersect rules. We need a minimum of 7 to operate according to the constitution of this committee. Do we want to sound opinion now? We could take a poll on those 2 options, or if anyone can see a third option, please let me know.
I would like to. I'd like to put it off slightly, just slightly, because I think there's an issue of the voting. By picking the next candidate, we would be picking someone who had 1/3 of the votes of the candidate above them. So there's not just an interest of our confidence. There's effectively an aspect of the community confidence in that person too, and I think that needs to be factored in. I'm just saying, we could pick the next candidate, but actually they had 1/3 of the votes of the candidate above them, which is not. Last time we were in this, there was a very clear boundary between those who were voted in and those who didn't get voted in. That's all I'm saying, and we have to consider that, I would say.
Do we want to move to a poll, or do we want to take this out of round?
We have the numbers ready, Neil, for this. I think it's a fair concern what you just raised.
The numbers we actually discussed them in the other group, in the other meeting line thing, because we didn't want to just do this. So it was from memory, and it's there in the other things. It was 115 to a 34 or something. The difference in the votes. It was 29% of the previous candidate. So I mean. My general feeling, I think my particular, based on, can I just say that my internal process would have been, even if there was just a smidgen between them, right? I would have said, hey, they're equally supported by the community, but it's not a smidgen. There's not a small amount between them. Yes.
If we took the second option of operating with 9 members, we would need to probably wait until next elections, which would take place 5 or 6 months from today.
Sebastian.
So as you say, I think logistically there is no issue to run with 9. You said it's kind of within the bounds of conformance, and I think it's still plenty, so we have often quorum. If we go with that, then we could still also say, yeah, we would go with this decision. Has somebody an issue with this from the community who did cast votes here, right? So basically, could put the statement out, and if people say this is bad, then we could still change our mind there. Just the other way around is not possible. That's what I want to say.
Yeah. I would think the other thing I think we should consider bracketed with this is what happens, given that there's 6 months to the next election. What happens if we lose another 2 members? What would we do? Well, I think we should discuss whether we visit, and are we allowed to co-opt people in order to keep our 7? That's the key question. We're not allowed to co-opt. I don't know. That's what I'm asking. What's the rules? Typically, committees have co-op powers, but I don't know what the rules are. So that would something to be clarified. Okay. But actually, I'd like to consider the possibility that more members will leave, and what should happen, and we should be forewarned, as opposed to basically suddenly becoming unable to do anything. Let's just say we should have learned the lesson of what's happened to the Constitutional Committee. Right, I would suggest.
Text, man.
Yeah, I won't continue here. Sorry.
Okay, do people want to respond to the poll, or do we want to just call the meeting to?
I think we'll just call the meeting to close at this point. We'll do that next week because it's only just been. That's what I would propose.
Okay, so
Okay.
we'll close. So we can always conduct a poll out of band if we need to. There's no need to conduct it during the meeting unless we need that. But let's call the meeting to a close. Thank you everyone for attending this meeting. Thank you for the discussion, and I look forward to talking to you all again very soon.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And thank you for your support, of course.
Yeah, that's down a round of applause for the new chair. Stood in the end. See you. Oh.